I lied, I went to another one.
Always hungry.
So I heard about this small convention called Garden State for the weekend, and after doing some looking around, I figured it was worth looking into. Considering I ended up having fun at the last con I went to, I wouldn't have minded going to another one. Looking for someone to bring, I asked my good friend Spider-Man if he wanted to go with me, and he agreed to come along. So after about a month and a half of waiting and planning, on May 4th we set out for the con, and after a short drive we pulled up to the hotel rather smoothly. Once inside, we tried to check in early, but would have to pay $50 for that, so we just said fuck it and changed near our car in the parking garage. We felt rather silly changing out in the open like that, but we got over it once we had our costumes on. After that, we got registered and began our quest inside the convention. Firstly, we went into some VR chat thing going on in one room. I don't play VR chat, but I know it's big with the furry community. Not surprising considering the customizability, though I don't know the finer details about the VR chat side of that setup. While in there, I ran into someone who I recognized from the last con I went to. They seemed to like us in there. Then we went to this panel in the main event room where there was this one girl doing a roast-style presentation about what your fursona species says about you. I didn't get a lot of the in-jokes, but I could tell that she knew what she was talking about, and she had a good enough stage presence to go along with it. She did look kind of like Rebecca Sugar to me, though. We hung around the lobby for a bit, and afterwards we decided to check out the artist gallery, or dealer's den as it was called there. It had its fair share of degeneracy as usual, as most artist alleys at these things do. We found another person dressed as a plague doctor with a frankly better outfit than mine, because it had way more accessories than I did. We got along with him and his buddy, so we hung out with them for a bit and checked out more stuff before going our separate ways. Once we got our fill with that, we took a break to go into downtown New Brunswick for lunch. This burger and chicken place had great prices for the amount of food they gave you, but the sauce made my stomach hurt a bit. After we ate, we went back into the convention and went to another panel in the main event room. This time it was a puppet show. They did various things with the crowd, like would you rather and would you do it type questions. They did a never have I ever thing, but usually in VR chat, it's across an entire football field and not a tiny pathway for people to scoot past each other. They also did a thing where a volunteer had to guess what prompt they were given to act out. That was pretty silly, and some of those prompts took forever for them to guess, understandably. When we walked out, we stumbled into another plague doctor, and we also got along well. We were hoping to find the other guy that we saw earlier and get the trifecta of plague doctors together. Unfortunately, we didn't see them for the rest of our time at the con, so that was a shame. There was also something called Furcon.ai, which was a photo booth type thing where you press a button and it takes a picture of what it sees and tried to guess what's in front of it. For the longest time, we didn't know where the photos were being uploaded to, and we had to ask people and got told to go to a Discord server where a bot uploads every picture. Really neat idea, but seemed like an arbitrarily long process to get the actual photos. Looking back at those, we showed up in the background of a few of them. That was kind of funny. Another main event happened a bit after that. It was a furry band, and I think their name was I've Made Too Much Pasta. I go to a lot of concerts, so I know what to look for in a good set. If I'm being honest, they were missing something. I think they could have benefited from playing covers of well-known songs, or at least had a brass or keys instrument involved to shake it up and keep things fresh. And their stage presence was a little slow too. Here's Spider-Man's thoughts on that.
For a band named after pasta, they were in desperate need of some sauce. No guitar solos, no drum fills. The band spent more than 20 minutes in their 90-minute set troubleshooting their sound, and their vocalist did not have the chops to merit being as loud as he was over everything else. They kind of had a hard time working the crowd, and more than half the people had left after around an hour, of which a third was spent sound checking, so it was painful.
But then they pulled an accordion out of nowhere, and it was a very welcome surprise. If they had committed more to that, they might have really had something on stage there. I will say, though, I do hate to see a concert's population slowly trickle out as the show progresses. It's pretty sad to see, and that's gotta be the worst feeling in the world. Following that, we needed a break and went into town again for some donuts and coffee. Downtown New Brunswick is a really nice urban area, actually, and it was really nice seeing a downtown area for the first time. When we got back, there was a guy that pulled up in an old Japanese fire truck that we briefly thought was the actual fire department. Had a conversation with a fellow outside about it, and we went back to our room and started drinking for not much reason. Once we had a few White Claws in us, we returned to the convention floor to see what was up at this hour. It was around 10 p.m. at this time. We went into the game room and played some Super Smash Bros. Melee. We met the dude who was driving the fire truck outside. He said he got it off Facebook Marketplace and he just kind of drives it around at cons for fun. He was pretty chill. We ended up playing Guitar Hero on and off for most of the night with some random people. They played Beer by Real Big Fish at one point, and I admittedly was nerding out a bit, as they're one of my favorite bands. Spider-Man and I kinda sucked at it, frankly. Even ran into that other Plague Doctor again. Also, there was a dance party in the event room. Some people there had some pretty good moves. If I could dance, I probably would have spent more time there. Going back and forth between those things got tiring, and after wandering about some more, we were ready to turn in at around 1 a.m. Also, a small funny story I have to tell, but I unfortunately didn't get any adequate pictures of, was Spider-Man and I went up some stairs in the lobby to get a bird's eye view of the area. And there was a young girl with 2 older women who was staring at me wide-eyed with a concerned look on her face. As I started to walk away, I turned around to see that she was pointing at me in her mother's arms and clearly scared of me. Hearing this might be funny, but being there in that moment was super awkward. Spider-Man told me that taking off my mask might make her feel better, so I did just that, but they were still awkwardly staring at me the whole time we were walking away. With that moment finally gone, we left to go up to our room and crashed for the night. It was a troublesome night of sleep for some reason. That morning, I woke up first, and since Spider-Man was taking his time getting up, I went down to the con floor to see what might be happening at this hour. It was like 9 a.m., I think, and no one was really around anyway, so I just went back to our room and waited for Spider-Man to get up. Once he was up, we took our time getting up and got packed. We had some of the cheap food from the con, and I felt cheated because I got a bacon, egg, and cheese on an English muffin that turned out to be smaller than the palm of my hand. But it was enough to hold me over for the drive back. We left with lots of pictures, some business cards, and our dignity still intact. So yeah, that's pretty much the story of Gino the Plague Doctor and IT Spider-Man's story about Garden State for the weekend. Overall, a pretty small but fun convention with lots of memories brought back to normal civilization. If anyone who's at the convention finds this video, leave a comment, and bonus points if you were in one of these pictures. We'll see if I go to any more, I guess. Good luck out there.